Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Dwyer, and you're listening to the second Salesian Sports Broadcasting Podcast. I'm here with a number of Salesian students to talk to you about Salesian sports, sports around the world, and all the absurd things that we'd like to just bring up and mock for you. First thing I want to discuss, Salesian basketball. How we doing? Seems like the freshmen are undefeated. We made some bets in our last podcast to see what the score was. We were all very, very wrong. It was pretty funny how poorly our guesses were. They won by, I believe, 30 and scored 70 points within the game. They're looking really good. Our freshmen, they got long arms. They're good defensively. They're passing the ball now. Their coach is so good, former alumni, stellar, great man. They got a very, very large bench. They got 10 people on the bench to come in. In one of the games earlier in the season, their star player, Ryan Whelan, basically jammed his finger, and they had to go and put in a number of people to take his spot, including Andrew Hart. And boy, did they step up. Every player that came in was passing the ball phenomenally. The point spread was really well done. They're just doing really well. JV found their rhythm. They've lost a few. They need to work way better together. But at least they're scoring more points. Their defense needs a little bit of work, but at least they're moving forward. Varsity has won a few in a row. We got Kamar, who's scoring a ton of points. It'd be better if he rebounded a little more. He's so tall. He's so fierce under the boards. If he did that, I mean, the team as a whole, with TJ, the way he dribbles and passes out, and Puma, the way he's been passing the ball around, they're going to be stellar this year. So just wanted to give that update. Basketball's doing so well. Bowling, unfortunately, they had an astounding season, both the varsity and JV. Astounding. 4 losses, I think, for both teams throughout the whole season. And unfortunately, they lost in the championships, both of them. But, man, to win as many games as they did, I believe they were in the 50s for both of them. To win 50 games, have 4 losses, that's insane. And people averaging scores in the 190s and 200s. They did such a great job this year. So they deserve a round of applause and a ton of respect. So when it comes to world sports now, the MLB is still making some upgrades, some changes, and we need to bring up the topics of this. What is most important right now leading into the best year of vision, 2020.
Hello, this is Chris, and we're going to start off by talking about Major League Baseball. So currently the MLB season is over. It's the off season, and there have been some big moves that have happened already. We talked about a couple of them last week. Our three of our superstars have already signed: Strasburg, Cole, and Rendon. The New York teams are looking all right. The Yankees signed Cole to that big deal, and they're the favorites to win the World Series. They need to win the World Series this year, or else this season will be considered an absolute failure. And Garrett Cole, year 1, will be considered a failure, and everything that the Yankees stand for will be considered a failure if they don't win this season. And the Mets are just going to be a third-place team this year. That's my opinion. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. They still have room to make They still have time to make a pretty big move. I think they need to get some bullpen help, or else what's the point, honestly? The Braves and the Phillies have just made too many moves. Strasburg going back to the Nationals as well. These are getting better. The Mets have to do something. You can't just go into the season with Rick Porcello and Michael Wacha as your off-season signings. You just can't do that. So, what I want to do for this first half of the baseball section of this podcast, I want to talk about the teams out west, teams in the AL West, teams in the National League West, because besides the Yankees and the Nationals, it's those teams in the West that have been making the big moves. So the first move we have, which I touched on a little bit last week, is Anthony Rendon signing with the Los Angeles Angels on a 7-year deal. I love this deal for the Angels. If you listened to the podcast last week, you would know I told you I love that deal. He's an amazing hitter, fantastic hitter. Hits for power, average, contact, anything. Real cool, calm hitter at the plate. Also plays really, really good defense. Now, being a really cool, calm hitter is really important come playoff time. And what makes the Angels team even scarier is that there's another guy in that lineup who's also a real cool, calm hitter. And that guy's name is Mike Trout. He's a pretty good player. So you got two of those guys in that lineup. That's a pretty scary lineup. And if they can make the postseason, I think they're going to be scary. But you know what else you need to get to the postseason? You need pitching. And right now, that pitching is not looking good. I mean, they made two pitching moves that are okay. They acquired Dylan Bundy from the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, top prospect in the Orioles organization came up and has just not been he hasn't been great. He hasn't lived up to the hype. And the Angels are hoping he could change something, maybe a change of scenery. I don't know. They also signed Julio Teheran, to a $3 million one year $3 million deal. Whatever. That's not gonna make your team. That's not gonna make them a wild card team. That's probably not even gonna make them That's probably not gonna even make them a 10-game over 500 team. Like that's just a move they make to make your pitching more deep, and whatever. But so it's pretty clear that the Angels' problem is pitching. But let's talk about some teams in the West that did improve pitching-wise. Two big pitching moves were made on Sunday, December 15th. The first one occurred Sunday at around noon. It was official. This move was official at around 3 p.m. And it involves a team in the same division as the LA Angels. And I have to tell you, when I checked my phone and I got the notification and I read that Corey Kluber was headed to the Texas Rangers as part of a trade, I was shocked. And it's just one of those shocking feelings that you only get from sports. That thought of, oh my God, he's going there? Because I really thought he was going to be on the Dodgers. I thought the Dodgers were going to pull the trigger, but as we're seeing, the common theme this offseason is the Dodgers have been missing out on the guys they need to sign. They've been just letting these guys sign and not moving the needle, not doing what they need to do to get these players, because this has been a really hyped up offseason for the Dodgers. We'll get to the Dodgers in a few. This Corey Kluber signing, I like this move. On this Corey Kluber trade, all right? This is a very risky trade. I like it, but it's very risky for the Texas Rangers. Now, a lot of people are going out and saying that the Cleveland Indians lost this trade because they got nothing back for a guy who's a 2-time Cy Young winner. But I'll tell you what, this move, in my opinion, is actually less risky for the Indians than it is for the Rangers. Let's start with the Indian standpoint. They're acquiring two guys who are fairly young. One of them is really young. One of them is fairly young. They both have a lot of potential. They could both be great, but they haven't shown that yet. So they got Delano DeShields Jr., who, he's a really good defensive outfielder, really good center fielder. If only the Mets would have got him. But he doesn't hit. He's not a great hitter. Then the other guy they got is Emmanuel Clase. I would assume it's Clase. He's a 21-year-old relief pitcher. He can reach 99 miles an hour. I think he could actually reach 101 miles an hour. He throws a cutter. I think that guy is the big piece of the trade because, I mean, he has all the time in the world, and he has all the potential, all the potential possible, you know, to be great. And he goes into an Indians bullpen that's already good. So, but the Indians made this trade because they're trying to cut salary, and the Indians are thinking, look, we're a small market team. Okay, we don't have the money to be paying Kluber. We can pay him if we want to, and we could trade other people. But for example, Lindor. But we're not. Why are we gonna trade Lindor to keep a guy like Kluber who we don't know if he's gonna be good when he comes back? He just suffered a major injury in 2019, at the beginning of the season, where he got hit with a line drive in the elbow, and he had to miss significant time for that. In fact, he missed the rest of the season. So the Indians are like, why are we going to take this risk and pay this guy the money? Let's trade him. Listen, we already made a mistake. They're thinking. This is what the Indians are thinking. Look, we made a mistake last offseason by not trading him because we decided to trade guys like Yan Gomes and Edwin Encarnacion to free up salary space. But now we see ourselves in that same problem of trying to cut salary. So we made a mistake. We didn't cut him. We didn't trade him last offseason where we got a lot of good pieces. Like Yankee fans, you think about it this way: the Yankees were interested in trading for him. The Indians were asking for like guys like Andujar and Clint Frazier and even Chad Green and Aaron Hicks and Jonathan Holder, and that's a lot. And I would say four of the guys that I just named would probably be going to Cleveland. That's how big of a deal this would have been. But now they're getting these two guys. But whatever, it's still something, and it's good. It's all right. It's not bad. It's not absolute. It's not a bag of chips. It's something. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. And you cut salary. So if Kluber wins the Cy Young next year, you'll feel a little bad, but you understand you were trying to cut salary and you got something back for him. So really, the only way chances are this is gonna be a good trade for the Indians. As for the Rangers, this is a really risky move for them, but it's one that could pay off. You see that rotation? It's gonna be Kluber, Lynn, Mike Minor. All right, so Mike Minor and Lance Lynn had really good 2019s, and they've been pretty good pitchers in their career, but I don't know. They were really good in 2019. I don't know if that was just a fluke. We don't know. Kluber, he suffered that terrible injury in 2019, like a really bad injury. Like maybe he's not the same Kluber anymore. Plus, he's getting up there in age. You also have Jordan Lyles, who they just signed, had a really good second half with the Brewers, but I don't know. He hasn't been that good in his career. Like he had an ERA around 2.5. In his time with the Brewers last season. I mean, he has been great in his career. And then you also got Kyle Gibson, who's been a decent pitcher, but nothing extraordinary. So that could be a make or break rotation. Like that could be really good, or it could be really bad. And you're giving away two good pieces for that, for Kluber. But if you want to win, you kind of got to make risky moves. I expected them to acquire a pitcher with a contract. I actually thought they were going to acquire David Price. But they went after Kluber, and I think you think about it this way: stay positive. You should not be mad about this move if you're a Rangers fan. You got Kluber at his cheapest price. You think about it that way. You got Kluber at his cheapest price. So I'm gonna pass the mic. Thank you.
Albert here. To add on to what he was saying about risky trades with the Rangers, another one that they did was they traded Nomar Mazara to the Chicago White Sox, and in return they got Steely Walker, which I don't think was that good of a move because, one, Nomar was a really good defensive player. He was also a switch hitter, which gave him an edge. So I mean, not the best move, but if they thought it was a good idea, I guess. They also acquired Blake Swihart, I guess I say it, who played last year for the Diamondbacks, and then got elected on free agency and is now signed with the Texas Rangers. And then they also signed from free agency to a minor league contract Brian Flynn. Brian Flynn has been in the majors and minors for years. Debuted back in 2013. They also signed Rob Ruffsnyder, which is a name I haven't heard in a while. He was an ex-Yankee and then just went underground in the minors for a while, and haven't seen him in a while. So back to when he was talking about Cole. I'm really excited for Cole because I think this is finally like the missing piece of the Yankees, because we've had trouble with having a designated ace this season because it was Severino, and then he got injured, and then it became Herman, then he got, then he got suspended. So, and then we were just winging it the whole year with Paxton, and sometimes starting at the bullpen. We also used Tanaka, was pretty much our savior this entire year from not getting mauled. And then, of course, Hap just blew the door wide open. He escaped with, like, what was it? Like a 5.0 ERA. And he was just not really that good this year. Plus, age is getting to him because he's already 37. So I think we should put him in a trade package and get a younger starting pitcher for the Yankees, because honestly, we need it. To like strengthen our roster with Cole, and just like we just need to just strengthen our starting rotation a lot, and we could take this series and just win it all the way through. Cause this season our Achilles heel, like I said before, was our starting rotation, because it was just terrible. And then when Severino came back, he pitched 30 pitches in 2 innings and walked a bunch of guys, and he was supposed to be our quote-unquote ace. And then Montgomery, too, he was out for almost 2 years with Tommy John surgery, and then he came back and he also blew it as well. And both Severino and Montgomery are like young pitchers. They're really good. It's just that when they came back, they just had a really rough start. And then there's also the friendly argument with Garrett Cole taking Luke Voigt's number 45, because Garrett Cole wore that throughout his entire career with the Pirates, with Astros, and now with the Yankees. So then they gave Voigt 59, and yeah.
I want to talk more about the Angels. I feel like the Angels, they had a good deal, but I think they have too much money on the books, especially if they're paying. I know that Trout has a really big contract, and now you're just adding Rendon to that. I mean, who else are you going to get in the years? I mean, you got Julio Teheran on a budget contract, and I know he's going to. You can't really mention him as the savior of the franchise, obviously, with the moderately okay season he had with the Braves. But, yeah. But there's too much money on the books, and I don't know. They got a hole at third base. I think Listella's injured, so. Yeah, and there's not two guys. The depth isn't that good. The bullpen's moderately okay, but you still got. There's just holes around the franchise, and I don't think they should be focusing more on getting all these big stars and big names, and getting the manager like a John Madden. But they should focus more on getting budget pieces. Definitely for third base, because they do have a big hole there. And yeah. And with the Rangers, I think they really got Kluber for a nice deal. I mean, if you look at the metrics, I think Delano DeShields, out of 207 registered hitters this year, he was 203rd. So there's only about 4 guys who are worse than him. I mean, he's obviously, as previously mentioned, he did have the good defense, but defense doesn't matter if you can't get on base and if you can't provide for your team. Yeah, and I think Kluber will be a nice piece for their rotation this year.
Okay, so the next pitching move we had, I want to know you guys' opinions on this, is the Diamondbacks are the ones who are going to be acquiring Madison Bumgarner. They signed him to a 5-year deal. Now, I have to say, I like this move a lot for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah, it's a really good move for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's one of the greatest postseason of all time. In my opinion, the best. 0.25 career postseason ERA. I mean, that's insane. So if they can get there, can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine him in the postseason again? He has not pitched well in Arizona in his career. But who knows? He's not going to the Dodgers. And I have to tell you, I'm kind of mad about that. I kind of wanted him on the Dodgers because I don't know. I just wanted that to happen. I wanted it to be that he could just completely betrayed his team. I don't like that. Like if I don't know if Aaron Judge signs with the Red Sox, I'm gonna hate that. Okay, so I understand how it feels, Giants fan. But it's like if Aaron Judge signed with like the Blue Jays, I wouldn't feel that much better either. And this is how this Bumgarner signing is. But let's just take time and it's just a couple of minutes, just not a couple of minutes, a little less than that. Just think about that he could have been a Dodger. He could have completely betrayed the entire city of San Francisco. Every single Giants fan that has come to their games and seen him pitch, and you know that whole fiasco they had where Max Muncy hit the home run off him, and he was yelling at Muncy. Muncy was like, "Go get it out of the water," and then you could yell at me, and then I'll run the bases, or something. And then you got all the terrible fights. I was gonna say wonderful. All the terrible fights that Madison Bumgarner would have with Yasiel Puig. And I understand Puig's probably not going to be a Dodger next year, but that would have just been crazy if he. But that just would have been crazy if he would have went to LA, because there's a huge rivalry between the Dodgers and the Giants. If you don't already know, but he's going to the D-backs, which Giants fans are not that much happy about either. But D-backs fans really are, because this guy, I think he needed to change his scenery. He had one of his worst seasons last year, an ERA around 3.90, because he's been great his entire career. He gets talked about as being just the greatest postseason pitcher of all time, but he gets completely forgotten about that he's amazing in the regular season as well. He's really good. Well, I'm not absolutely amazing, but he's really good. So the Diamondbacks are getting him for $85 million through 5 years. I think that's around almost like $17 million a year. I'm just like thinking about this quick in my head. That's great. You have Zach Wheeler, who's not a solidified ace, not a solidified number one, and he's getting paid like a little more than $20 million, and you're getting this guy for less than 20. That's insane. As an absolute win for the D-backs, win for Bumgarner because he has horses in Arizona and he wants to be with his horses. So I think it's a win for both teams. And I thought he was going to go to like the Dodgers. You obviously know that. And I would have wanted that. But he's going to the Diamondbacks. So thanks.
To add on to that, the Diamondbacks, I think, I agree it is a win for them because, honestly, they haven't been doing good this year. I mean, they placed, like, second or third place in this season. But it was just they didn't have that many good hitters this season. The only two people that I would say that were, like, you could guarantee one way or another they would hit a home run, that was Ketel Marte and Christian Walker. I mean, I saw them at their best when they played the Yankees. And I also saw them at their worst when they got swept by the Mets. So it's definitely, they haven't been doing good all the season. They definitely took a bunch of chances with minor league pitchers, because a bunch of times I saw like young, like 24, 25-year-old starters that did good at first and then just plummeted by like the third inning and gave up a bunch of runs. So definitely I think this is a good move for them because they need them basically, and they attempted to save themselves by signing Mike Leake, and that didn't go over too well, but it helped a little bit. So I'm glad that they signed Bumgarner, because that he can be very good if he just gets the right, calls and everything.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, I mean, I think this was the perfect place for Bumgarner to go. I don't think he. I think he's after the point. I don't think he's chasing rings anymore. I think he just wants. I think he mainly did it just for the. He wanted to obviously get his at bats so he can hit against Kershaw again, get a couple more homers. But yeah, he just wanted to go somewhere quiet, not much attention.
Guys, an extensive talk about the MLB. Sorry, Mets fans, we don't have enough news out yet, aside from these recent pitchers getting picked up. But hopefully there's some positive moves on the way, because although their bench is stacked, they have a new manager who has never managed before. There's a lot of questions. Losing Wheeler, who's going to fit that as equivalent? Who's going to go and fill in the places that are lacking in the bullpen? When all those start coming up, we'll start our Mets. But for now, we just have to pray, hope, go to our rosary services on Thursday, and just wish for the best. So with that, the NBA is going strong. The Knicks have more wins than some kids' GPAs. It's amazing. I can't believe it. The Nets are pretty much where we kind of expected them, in kind of the middle of things. But let's just talk about what's been going on in over a week. These slight changes, these 76ers home losses, these unique discussions coming up.
For the New York Knicks, I think that with the coaching of Mike Miller, the opinion that David Fizdale was holding the Knicks back during the season is kind of coming true. But we don't know if it really was his fault. I mean, maybe his coaching style wasn't that bad, but the chemistry was just not there, because we don't know how the players felt with him coaching them on the floor. But during these 4-game stretch, they have won 3 games out of 4. With R.J. Barrett last night having a 27-point game, as being career high, and 6 players in the Knicks having double figures. Well, not double figures. Well, more than 10 points, and Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle both having doubles. And also, we have to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. as right now there are some trade rumors for him, as right now Dennis Smith Jr. isn't doing the best because the Knicks, I guess the Knicks just don't really believe him in. I can say, I don't want to say that, but it's kind of true. His defense is not that good, and he can't really shoot, but only like do layups and dunks and drive into, which is good. But then you realize he doesn't have the other aspects of the game, which means, yeah, he's flashy, but doesn't being a good player.
Hey everyone, this is Colin, and I'm not going to talk about the Knicks here. Rather, this week I'm going to highlight 2 teams who I feel like have actually exceeded expectations and have been like 2 of the most surprising teams in the NBA. Now, I'm going to start off here in the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat just came off ending the Sixers' home streak. The Sixers had not lost a home game yet this year. They were undefeated. I think it was like 14-0. And the Heat came in there and actually won. And they were up by a lot, too, at one point. At one point, they were up by like 20 points. Sixers came back, but they just weren't able to close it off. And I think this is very surprising. Now, obviously, the Miami Heat have Jimmy Butler, who's actually averaging 20.9 20.9 points a game right now. And, obviously Jimmy Butler's always been good. He's always playing at an all-star level. But what's really made the Miami Heat good this year is all these young guys that they have who've just been stepping up. You have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, who has actually come out of nowhere to put himself into the Rookie of the Year race. And I mean, overall, the Miami Heat have just really come out of nowhere and are now probably even the Eastern Conference Finals contender, which is actually surprising because I think no one saw this coming. Now, in the Western Conference, I'm going to talk about the Dallas Mavs. Dallas Mavs right now are the 4th seed in the Western Conference, obviously behind Luka Doncic, who I would say I think is the Rookie of the Year. I mean, MVP right now, in my opinion. I think that Luka Doncic should get MVP if the season's ended today. But he recently got injured. And, honestly, it still doesn't really matter for them. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks and an 18-game winning streak, all thanks to Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis actually did play very well in this game, showing flashes back to what he was like in New York. And I think that the Dallas Mavericks also played last night, playing the Boston Celtics, and they only ended up losing that game by 6 points. And I mean, I think for them that's a win because the Boston Celtics are one of the best teams in the NBA, and for the Mavericks to go in there shorthanded and to still almost come close to winning, I think that's really good for them. And I think that you have to watch out for the Dallas Mavericks as well in the Western Conference. So overall, the Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks, I feel like have really come out of nowhere, cemented themselves maybe even being contenders later on this year.
Great stats by both teams. We've seen them elevate throughout the season so far, and it's only just the beginning. So the way they're going, it can go even better. But I want to bring it back to it's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's tough to be a Knicks fan. Like the management is just so bad. It's incredible. Like I feel as if I were the owner of the Knicks, I would do much better than James Dolan. We could have had Kyrie and KD, but he didn't want to offer KD a max contract because he was injured. It's Kevin Durant. He's going to come back. Even if he's not at the same caliber, he's still a great shooter. He could slash. He could play make. It's not like he can't do any of those things. I mean, also with David Fizdale, how he got fired recently. I believe it was the 6th of December. I don't want to singly blame him because the problem started way before Fizdale came along, but he didn't make anything better. They have a decent young core, but it's not really going anywhere. Hopefully, new coach could bring them back or something. I don't know. It's tough to watch these games. I mean, they have won 2 games, but I mean, that's great for the Knicks, bad for any other team in the league. I also want to bring up agency once again. How I said with had Dennis Smith Jr. in the 2017 draft, but instead we went with the Frenchman, Frank Ntilikina. I can't even pronounce his name. It's not even worth it. I mean, he's a decent defender, but in this day and age, defenders don't away from the basket. It doesn't work. If they were just drafted Dennis Smith, Porzingis maybe, just maybe, would still be on the Knicks because they did trade him to the Mavericks for Dennis Smith and DeAndre Jordan, which DeAndre Jordan didn't do much for the Knicks either. So once again, another wasted trade. But I think the Knicks just need a rebrand. Like, sell the Knicks off, make a new team. New York needs better. It's this. I'll say it again. It is so tough to watch these. It's like there's no point in watching it anymore. Like, I just go home and see, oh, wow, the Knicks are playing the Mavericks today. Okay. Can't wait to get blown out by 30. It's not worth it anymore. I mean, for me, it's hard to watch. So I'd like to get some other opinions. Maybe some other Knicks fans here.
For me, in the opinion of the Knicks, their rotation's not the best right now. Maybe try to train Frank Ntilikina to try to shoot better. He's already good at defense, so we can agree with that. Also, RJ Barrett, he's gaining enough minutes. Kevin Knox has not gained that much minutes than last year, so I think they should just play their young players way more so they can develop.
All right, this is Colin again. Now, I'm not personally a Knicks fan myself, but I also agree with the prior point that I think the Knicks should really focus on developing their young players, because I think that a lot of these guys do have potential. And I just think that if you're the Knicks, there's no point in playing these like old, washed-up veterans who, they may be better than the young players right now, but you're really getting nothing out of it, because, a lot of them are rentals. They're only going to be there for like 1 or 2 years. So personally, if you ask me, I do think the Knicks should just lean younger.
I totally agree with that. These veteran players, they're veterans. LeBron James veteran, but they're veterans. Not doing much. Julius Randle's decent, but I think right now, if the Knicks want to call themselves a rebuilding franchise, which I didn't know rebuilding started in the 90s, still going, but if you want to do that, you got to play the young. You got to play the young stars. Playing veteran after veteran after veteran is not going to work, and it hasn't worked. It's not going to work anymore. This is not. You can't play old players and expect them to go out and do good. We've seen it. Players are expected to play 82 games a season, full pace, full night. And what does it do for veterans? Injuries. How Luka Doncic is a young star and he's already injured. It's a high-pressure game. It's not going to do much. So I think if the Knicks just play their young stars and, continue with this so-called rebuilding idea, maybe, just maybe, they could get to a speck of dust of their former glory.
Yes, being a Knicks fan myself, Mr. Dwyer here, it's hurt. It's hurt a lot. The best we've had is maybe Nate Robinson, also the shortest we've had. The NBA is doing great when it comes to the West, but the Knicks, I guess we got to rebuild again. At least we got a couple of wins in to show that they're being competitive. They're actively rebounding, and that's helping. Gooden is actually doing stuff under the boards. Knox needs to play more. Totally agree with that. Peyton is being a facilitator better than Ntilikina. But, the defense has got to bolster. The offense has got to be better. Randall's got to make actual layups. Jeez, oh, man, make layups. And we need a three-point shooter. We don't have really one. Knox is our three-point shooter, and that stinks. Yeah.
To his own basket.
Well, yeah. We try to ignore the embarrassing things within our New York lives. So with that, and continuing with embarrassments, but maybe on a high note, we got Eli actually throwing 2 touchdowns. 3 interceptions, though I don't think those interceptions were as bad as everybody kind of makes them. One of them was the receiver didn't run his route exactly how he had to. He cut too late. Young wide receiver. He threw one to the left side at the last second, tried to get a field goal in, so he kind of forced it between 2 people. And the last one kind of wobbled in the air a bit, and the defender just ran in on that real quick. So I would say he probably threw 1 legit interception there. 2 touchdowns, though, and they were beautiful throws, beautiful looks in the center. Offensive line did their job, get his win against the Dolphins so they don't get embarrassed like the Jets. Oh, sorry, was that too quick? And there it is, off into the beautiful twilight of mist and rain. Eli is going to head over there and next to his brother, who doesn't have any records anymore thanks to Drew Brees and Tom Brady. But at least he's, up there with the top of them. Let's share this beautiful discussion of the NFL together.
Hey everyone, this is Colin, and like Mr. Dwyer said, the Giants actually won last week. Now, I know it was against the Miami Dolphins, but hey, at this point, I'll just take anything. The Giants were right now, they were tied with the longest consecutive losing streak in franchise history, so just to end, that's good. And especially the way they did it, Eli Manning getting able to probably finish out his last career start with a win, it was just a good thing for us to see. But actually, for the New York Giants now, I'm actually kind of scared. The next 2 games, we play both the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I mean, right now, the Giants' only really purpose is to just lose games to get better draft position. And I think that these 2 games are very winnable. The Washington Redskins are also both much like us with a 3-11 record. And if we end up losing this game, or not, I mean winning this game, then the Redskins will actually move ahead of us in the draft order. And I think that's actually very crucial for us because we could lose out on the top prospects. The Philadelphia Eagles, too. The prior week to when they play us are going to be playing the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that if they lose that game, they're going to be eliminated from the playoffs, so I think that they might not have that much to play for. We might actually win that game. So I think that if you're the Giants, you just have to watch out, and I mean, I think that Daniel Jones is probably going to end up coming back, so that might actually help them win better, but I mean, like, I just think that as a Giants fan, like, those 2 games could actually mean a lot for us in the future. I'll shift to this, though. Week 16 of the NFL season starts up on Saturday. This is where the playoffs is starting. First off, I'll just go over the seeding order, and then I'll give my opinions. Now, in the AFC, the 1 seed belongs to the Baltimore Ravens, followed by the New England Patriots, Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills, and Pittsburgh Steelers. In the NFC, we have the Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, and Minnesota Vikings. Now, I think that in the AFC, I think that the Baltimore Ravens are a serious threat. They have been on a 10-game winning streak, and they probably have the MVP of the league. Jackson. I think that if you keep on doing what you've been doing, I think that honestly you'll be okay. If they beat in all the top competition, they beat in the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Texans. So I think that if you're them, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. I think that you'll end up in the Super Bowl. NFC gets tough because there's a lot of great football teams there. I mean, except for the NFC East, of course. I mean, that's just not. Francisco 49ers. I honestly couldn't tell you. I could see any one of those teams coming out. So I think that most likely we're going to end up getting, I think in the AFC it comes down to the Ravens and the Patriots, and in the NFC I think it could really just be anyone. So I think that it's going to be a good next couple of weeks because we're going to see who makes the playoffs, but I think it's going to be an even better January in the NFL.
All right, so I just want to bring it back to the Giants. Once again, New York management, I don't know anymore. This is not working. It's just not working. Dave Gettleman, general manager for the Giants, decided that he wanted to go with Daniel Jones because he played good in a 3-game series exhibition match where every prospect is fooling around. And he says that he picked Jones because he saw a professional player in him. That's like saying I see a good 11-year-old playing against 5-year-olds. It doesn't work. It makes no sense. New York teams, what are you doing? I can't speak for baseball or hockey or any other New York sports team in any other sport. But for basketball and football, what is going on? I don't even want to get started on the Jets. I'm not even going to discuss them. They're gone. No matter how much they rebuild, Jesus Christ could join their team, and it's just not going to work. I don't care about them. So, Giants just, it's not working. I don't understand. I can't watch a Knicks game without getting upset, so I decide, hey, why not watch football? And I see the Giants for what? What are we doing here? We have no offensive line. It's 5-year-olds playing against 30-year-old men. It's not working. Can't even hold the tackle for more than 5 seconds. What are you doing with your life? Getting paid millions for what? And then I think, me personally, and I say many Giants fans or even NFL fans in general could agree, that if Eli Manning was put on a team like the Cowboys or maybe the Patriots or any team with a decent offensive line, I think he could be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's not bad. I mean, he's old. I'll give you that. But veterans in the NFL are different from in the NBA. In the NFL, you could be a veteran as long as you could get the job done. That's all that matters. Eli could get the job done. He won last week. We could see that he could get the job done when he has a good offensive line supporting him. And it's not just the offense. Defense, too. What are we doing? Millions for what? Just give me the millions. Don't worry about it. You guys don't need it. It's charity. Come on now. Defensive line not doing good either. One last thing before I give it off to Colin again. if you put the defensive line against the offensive line, they would be standing there, probably in the rain, probably in the snow, for a good year, and no one will do anything on that field. It's disappointing as a New York fan. I have to go home and get made fun of by my friends because my team suck. It's disappointing. Colin, what do you think?
Well, I totally agree with Michael here on what he said about the Giants. I mean, it's just bad on all fronts. I mean, I think that one good part of our team I can say that I really like is our offensive weapons. I mean, Golden Tate, Saquon Barkley, Darius Slayton, who was a good find. But I mean, I talked about this more in depth last week, but I was quickly. I think what really kills us is obviously our old line. I mean, that's been a problem for years. In the secondary. Now, our secondary is filled with a lot of young, new guys like Corey Ballantyne, DeAndre Baker, Julian Love, but I mean, they just really haven't been showing up. And I think that, I mean, I can't be too critical on them because they're young, but I think that just eventually, I mean, hopefully they can turn that around. And I think that as long as we can fix our defense, I think that we can get better. Because, I mean, I said this before, I actually do like Daniel Jones. I've liked what he's done so far. I mean, I don't think he's had a great situation. I think he's done okay. I think he could definitely to be being a pretty above average starter in this league, and I think that we can definitely get that out of him. And I mean, like, I think Pat Shurmur has to go. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he's really done anything for us. I mean, Dave Gettleman, I've been okay on some things he's done. I mean, I don't really like him that much.
I just want to say a few more things about the Giants, aka New York Trashbacks. But anyway, nothing worse than the Jets. All right, it's just about them. But anyway, I just want to explain the whole situation and has the most boring name in football. But anyway, Pat Shurmur. With the Giants right now is in the hands of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, and this is a quote from a website called Deadspin.com, and it says, "If his new rookie QB sucks, he'll be fine. If that QB somehow, one more year and then fight for a better coach anyway." And I'd say the words better. True. I mean, let's look at Daniel Jones' stats real quick. His yardage so far, and this is December 19th, 2019. He's putting up 2,374 yards, and that's the 28th in the league. So for a rookie, it's all right, but for a franchise leading quarterback, it's not great. He has 18 touchdowns, tied for 17th. Yeah, I can't say much about that. 11 interceptions. And real quick, he's attempted 370 passes and has only completed 228. And what he's projected when he came into the league was to have 261 completions with 423 attempts. So he's getting the job, I guess you could say, done, but it's nothing to lead a team. I mean, we saw Eli in 2010, 2009, all those years. And one more thing before I sign off, I just want to say, where's Tom Coughlin? Where is he? Bring him back. I don't care what we have to do to bring him back. I don't care if he's in South America living in the Amazon rainforest. I don't care. Bring him back. He needs to help us. He's not need him to be. Pat Sherman's not doing anything. Please help us.
Interestingly enough, Coughlin may be in the Amazon with other Jaguars because he's not with the Jaguars organization anymore because this morning he actually left. So that's very of you to go say, Mike. Now, we've seen a lot of things in the hallways recently, especially today, involving new televisions, right, in the hall. But you should be at your televisions looking at the new trade involving a hall. We're here with hockey to discuss what the hell the Devils did.
Okay, it's Keith, and we're here to talk about the Taylor Hall trade. So, have been underperforming the entire year. Taylor Hall is a free agent after this season, and the Devils wanted to get some value from him because they know they're not going to really get much performance-wise. Scratched him the last 3 games. There was a lot of rumbling going around the league. Is he going to get traded to what team? And the 2 top runners were the Colorado Avalanche and the Arizona Coyotes. And after the 3rd game, he was scratched. It was official. He was traded to the Arizona Coyotes. So in the trade, the Devils give up Taylor Hall and Blake Spears to the Arizona Coyotes for a 2020 first-round pick, which is a top 3 protected pick, a conditional 2021 third-round pick, along with 2 forward prospects named Scar and Nick Markley, and 1 defensive prospect and Kevin Ball. So to break down the trade a little bit further, I want to take a look at the Arizona Coyotes cap situation. As of this minute, they have $5 million in current cap space, which is very good for them. Taylor Hall is making about $3 million a season, and he's due up for a contract. If he feels like Arizona is a good fit for him, he may be able to stay. So you figure you do, easy math, 3 plus 5, you get 8. So you have $8 million in cap space. That $8 million can go right to him, and you can sign him for $8 million. I think that'd be a little steep for a guy. But if if the Coyotes want to make a playoff run, which they have the pieces to do it, if they want to be a playoff contender, not only a playoff contender, but a cup contender for next couple seasons, I feel like they have the cap to do it, and they can sign him. But as obvious, the thing that's really obvious, Arizona is not a hockey market. It's not the best place to live out of all the NHL teams. So does he want to stay in Arizona? That's just the number one question. So let's take a look at the players who are involved in this trade. So Nate Scar, so far, he is a 20-year-old player. 20-year-old, shoots right. He's a center. Taken in third round pick, 75th overall, 2017. He's played in the OHL for 4 years, and he's been in the minors this year. 22 games, 9 points, not bad. A lot of these guys are in their early 20s, 20, 22. So they still have a lot of potential left, but I really just don't see a lot from him. Just based on how many points he has in the AHL. He also wasn't a high scorer in juniors. His best year was his last year, 65 games, 102 points, which isn't bad at all. But I think that because it was coming out of his last year and not his second or third year, I think that might hurt him a little bit. Kevin Ball has not stepped on an NHL surface. He's still in the juniors. He plays on the Ottawa 67s on the Ontario Hockey League, part of the CHL. 20 points in 28 games. That's not bad. I think he has the potential to do something good. His penalty minutes are a little bit high, though. He has 43 so far in only 28 games. Second-round pick, 55th overall, 2018 draft. Not bad. 19 years old, so still has a lot of potential. Seems like a great young defenseman. Moving on to Nick Markley. Now, this was a first-round pick. He has 1 game of NHL experience. Whoop-de-doo. So that was with the Coyotes. So that 1 game, he had 2 penalty minutes. So didn't do much anything, but he's spent the last 2 years in the AHL. This year, he's not doing too bad. 26 games, 16 points. Coming from a wing, that's not bad. There's still potential there as well. 22 years old, still has room to grow. His 4 years in juniors, all spent in the WHL. I mean, 63 points in 63 games his last season, not bad at all. He had a great season his third year, 72 games played, 90 points, and then he kind of dropped off due to injuries with 43 games played and 44 points the year after. So definitely some potential if he could stay healthy. That seems like a reoccurring theme just looking at his stats is how healthy can this guy stay. I mean, 45 games 2 seasons ago isn't bad, but isn't great either. Now let's take a look what the Devils give up. Besides Taylor Hall, Blake Spears. Blake Spears was third round, 67th overall pick in 2015. He has so far 3 games of NHL experience. He did nothing much in those 3 games. His time in junior hockey was not bad. He actually had some pretty standout years. Look at his second year with the Sioux Greyhounds, the OHL. 57 games played, 67 points. The year after, 68 games played, 74 points. And his final year in juniors, 30 games played, 34 points. So he's a guy who seems to average a good amount of points. 22-year-olds again, and he's a center. So we'll see what he can really do. The minors so far this year, not bad. 10 games played, 4 points. So he could still pick up his production a little bit. And now for the main piece, Taylor Hall. So what I want to talk before we get into stats, what do the Coyotes get with Taylor Hall? They get a goal scorer, they get a guy who can make plays, they get an overall great player. He doesn't have a 200-foot game, but he has a game that's very, very similar to it. I think he's a good teammate. He's never really had any problems on a lot of the teams he's played on. So let's take a look at his stats. So Taylor Hall so far this year has played 31 games, 6 goals, 20 assists, 26 points on a struggling Devils team. Now he's going to have a definitely a better supporting cast. We're not really sure what line he's going to be on. He only played his first game a couple nights ago, where he actually got the game winner, which was cool. But over his career, 593 games played, 208 goals, 329 assists for 537 points. So the guy has potential. A former first overall pick with Edmonton and their whole lottery pick streak. So the biggest question is, how's he going to fit? Already a game, already has one assist, has a point already. He's not bad. He was a MVP 2017, 2018, so that's obviously not too far off. Missed a majority of last year with a knee injury, but he looks this year like he's recovered mostly from that. It's just going to be how healthy he can stay going forward, and how healthy he can stay, and how much he can produce, and the chemistry obviously with his new line mates. In my opinion, I think that the Coyotes won this trade for sure. They have a team with guys who right now they're best in their division. They have a list of guys. They have the cap space to re-sign them next year. And for the Devils, I think they get guys that might be good in a couple years, but they might not be good. They're either going to be really good or not good at all. I don't see a middle ground with these guys. They seem to be very injury prone just based on how many games played they have. And I mean, the Devils, obviously, they want to build for the future. But I think that at one point or another, that's just where you waste guys like Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. You have to utilize these guys sometime or another.
Absolutely agree. At least the NHL, when it comes to choosing people, so really in the foresight right now. These are some young guys. Yeah, we're gonna have to see, can the Devils actually score. Right now they're pretty far behind, having started pretty okay, but you can't depend on just the goalie to go and block everything for your poor defenseman and your inability to not slash people, which has occurred way too much for the Devils. And the Islanders, you just keep doing what you're doing. That's just working really well. Rangers are just kind of there. They came back, but yeah, this is where we're at right now. We got plenty of time to talk about this. We have extra time, just a little bit, but I'd like to go and do a very brief hedge your bets. First one, Dodgers, when it comes to the MLB, are they going to go and do well with the free agency? Are they going to go up? Or you think they're going to have a lower season and do not as well through the off season?
Have a lot of expectations, right? They exited the season. They got eliminated from the playoffs early. They were supposed to be a World Series team. I thought they were going to the World Series. I think you could ask every baseball fan, even Nationals fans probably thought that the Dodgers were going to the World Series. But that didn't happen. They got as a result, of terrible pitching, bullpen decisions, and just not hitting enough. They got eliminated early by the Washington Nationals. They lost Game 5 at home, and in heartbreaking fashion. So this season was an absolute failure for the Dodgers. And the expectations were even higher going into this offseason because they got eliminated early. They were expected to make a lot of moves or some big moves. They haven't done that thus far. Now, technically, if you look at the last two off seasons, they still have a lot of time because last off season and the off season before that, it wasn't until like February that all the big name free agents were signed. But this off season, all the big name free agents have already signed. There's only very few who I think could be impact players. I'll talk about those guys in just a few. But they missed out on Garrett Cole. Before the Yankees were in on Cole, I really thought the Dodgers were the ones who were going to get him. The Angels, they were up there, but I personally thought the Dodgers were going to go that extra. They didn't. He's a Yankee now. Rendon, I thought he was going to be a Dodger because there was the thought of, Justin Turner can go to first base. You keep Bellinger in the outfield. Now you got this amazing third baseman. That team is stacked. And then for that other rotation, you would have to just fill in that rotation spot with Julio Urias. Julio Urias, who is one of their top prospects, should be getting more of a chance in the starting rotation. So I thought Bumgarner was going to go there as well. Then the Diamondbacks swooped in. So they're missing out on these free agents. And who'd they get this offseason? They got Blake Treinen, who, he's a really good bullpen piece, but you got to do more than that. I think ultimately it really comes down to who they need to target two guys and get one of these two guys, and that is Josh Donaldson or Hyunjin Ryu. Personally, I think you go if you really want to show people you care, get both of them, okay? Get both of them. That'll equal the amount of money that if you were to go get Rendon, you get a pitcher and a hitter. Another guy, Lindor, but a lot of guys are interested in Lindor, and they have the pieces to get Lindor. But I think the Dodgers will make a big move. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
I mean, there's only one way to sum up what the Dodgers are doing. It's very evident of a playoff Kershaw. You have so many expectations going into it, and then you give up 2 straight home runs. I mean, they can't perform. They didn't perform. But obviously, they did fantastic in the regular season. But as the Yankees showed us, you can do as much as you want in the regular season. But if you can't get it done in the playoffs, your season's a wash. It doesn't mean anything. So they couldn't really do anything. And they haven't been doing anything to excite the fans or get the team rallied this offseason. I feel like they should have got a piece, but obviously I think they're trying, but they can't close the deal on anybody. I don't know if that's because of the reputation they third throughout the playoff. Yeah, just get anybody.
Agreed. Rendon even said that he didn't want to go to that side of L.A. because he wasn't a Hollywood boy coming from Texas. So it shows that there's a lot of pressure that comes from there. Maybe he was afraid of a Randy Johnson effect going to the Yankees late in his career where he hated all the attention. And maybe that's something that the Dodgers have to work with because their fans are a bit aggressive. People talk about that. So, another question I have, hedge your bets. Christmas game this year in the NBA is Lakers-Clippers. Hedge your bets. Who's winning, Clippers or Lakers?
All right. Well, obviously, this is a very great game. You have the two best teams in the Western Conference. The Lakers, as of right now, have a 24-4 record. The Clippers are 21-8. But I personally am going to say that the Lakers are going to win, and here's why. Now, I think that at full strength, both of these teams are very good shooting teams. But I think what separates the Lakers from the Clippers is that they're so much more physically dominant than them. I think that I think that this still matters. I get that the NBA is now a shooting league, but I just think that the Clippers don't have anyone down low to match LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard coming at them on the boards. I think that's going to make the big difference in this game. I think that the Lakers are going to be able to physically impose on the Clippers, and I think that some guys from the Clippers might miss a few of their shots. They might go cold, but I think that I would say the Lakers win a tight game thanks to their physical dominance.
To me, in my opinion, I think the Clippers might win. The reason why I think the Clippers might win this game is because you know how Kawhi is a lockdown defender. He can win Defensive Player of the Year whenever he wants to. If he can lock down LeBron for that for the amount of minutes he's gonna play, it was just a lot. I think they're gonna have a disadvantage in the small forward position, unless they also find someone to lock him down as well. And LeBron, we all know he's not the best of defenders, which means like Kawhi can try to penetrate that fault by trying to drive into the paint and everything. And yeah.
It's good opinions. There's other games going on during that time. Another one may be interesting is Pelicans and Nuggets. There's also Bucks 76ers. That'll be a really good game. Expecting the Bucks to take it, though. And Rockets, Warriors, well, we know who's winning that. So next, hedge your bet. St. Louis, do they repeat in the NHL? Is it too early to tell?
I'm going to say that they won't repeat. I feel like they kept mostly the same core guys, and they're still producing at a good rate. The other thing is, though, that all the other teams in the West have not stayed stagnant. They've improved as well. The Colorado Avalanche have jumped off to a great start. Guys like Mikko Rantanen, he even though he was injured, he still was playing well. Nate McKinnon had to carry the team without pretty much their top line. Gabriel Landeskog was down. Rantanen was down. They were missing some pieces on the back end. They've increased their depth as well, which is really nice. They have, their top three lines can mainly compete with mostly anybody at this point. The other thing is now, like we just mentioned, Taylor Hall trade. The Coyotes just got a little bit better. It really all depends on the West. I think that they can make it to the conference finals, but getting to the cup, I think it's going to be tough.
Okay. Excellent analysis, guys. I want to end this with a beautiful Christmas gift known as Jeremiah's Corner. And I have a question for you, Jeremiah. The XFL, will it do better than the NFL?
You said the XXL in the NFL?
No, just the X, just one XFL, Jeremiah.
The XXL?
No, just one X,
The XL.
It's an extreme football league.
I think the NFL will be doing better. But I think XXL is also good.
Okay, that's a shirt size, Jeremiah. That's
No.
not a football. It's not a football league. Do you even know anything about the XFL?
Yeah.
Okay. What's one of your favorite teams?
The Pelicans.
That's an NBA team, Jeremiah. Are you sure you did the research beforehand?
I think I was tired. I'm not even sure anymore.
That's fair. That's very fair. Well, guys, thank you all for listening. Thank you for being around Jeremiah's Corner for a horrifying few seconds. And we here at Sports Broadcasting would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy eating a ton of food. During the basketball games going on, enjoy any winter games that occur, especially in hockey. Come on, people. Please watch hockey. And we hope you get everything you wanted as a gift, especially a passing grade leading into these midterms.
And if you want to know more about me and my corner, my Instagram is Cancer, by the way.
Okay. No one could understand that. So, well, have a happy New Year, and we'll see you when in the year of great vision, 2020.
I built that.
The advertisement of watching hockey was not sponsored by Keith Kelly in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.